Hi, good morning everyone. Ryan LaRose, head golf professional at the Whiteville Golf Club. Today we're coming to you from live and outside at 18 Green. You probably see in the background here we've got a couple new bunkers with some new sand in them. So today we're actually going to be talking about wedges and also the bounce on wedges and how that comes into play. So typically wedges come in either a low bounce, a mid bounce, or a high bounce. And how those kind of come into play with any of your shots instance would be if you have a wedge that has a high bounce on it. Typically that is for bunkers that have fluffier sand. It's for softer turf conditions. And it's also for individuals who may not like to manipulate the club face very often. And what bounce does is it, like the word, it helps bounce the club off the turf and making it through the turf itself. And it's also for somebody who has a steeper attack angle at the golf ball. On the other side, when you have a club that has lower bounce, so for instance this one here, I've got a 58 degree, could be considered a lob wedge or a high lofted sand wedge. It's got 8 degrees of bounce, which is quite low. But even in saying that, a wedge that has a low bounce on it, that would be for bunkers that tend to be a little bit firmer with sand, turf conditions that are a little bit firmer as well. And then also for a player who isn't as steep, that has a bit of a shallower swing. And a lower bounce club, you're able to manipulate the face and open it up a bit. So if you're a player who likes to play different shots around the green, then a lower bounce club would be something that could be beneficial to you. And how that comes into play with our new bunkers here. So a lot of you have, you've been given the information and shown through the process. So this is, one of the new greenside bunkers at 18. It's got, pro angle sand in it. And you'll notice as soon as you step into it, it's a lot firmer than the bunkers that we have out on the golf course. This sand here, it's a lot more coarse. So it's almost like if the sand is wet, it's a lot more dense, not as compact, or more compact. So you can see when I step into here, my feet don't really make much of an imprint. And if you've never played out of a bunker that has this type of sand in it when it's not wet, lower bounce golf clubs are more beneficial, because if you have a higher bounce, it wants to bounce off the firmer bunker, whereas a lower bounce is going to allow you to dig a little bit more. Personal preference for me, I find that bunkers like this, where the sand has that wet feeling or it's a lot more dense, a lot easier to play the shot out of the bunker itself. So next time you're looking at your wedges or thinking about your setup, look at the bounce on your wedges and think, am I playing the right bounces depending on what type of approach I have to it, what type of conditions I typically play in, and what shots you like to play. So, and if you ever need any help, come and see any of the assistants or pros in the pro shop. We're more than happy to help. We've got demos in various companies. We've got Callaway here today. We've got Titleist. We've got Cleveland. We've got TaylorMade. So come and see us, and we're more than happy to help look at your wedge game. Thank you, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Pro Shop Talks.